Sante Sana Warden. Well, as we say here in Harambe, Twinde, which does mean, let's go. Well, Jumbo everyone, my name is Lauren and I'll be your safari guide here today to the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. If you take a look above your head, you'll see an animal spotting guide, which may help you identify some of the animals we could be seeing here today. Now, we won't see all the animals listed there, but we've been having pretty good luck so far. And if you have a phone or camera, now would be a great time to get out, get it active, because while we will see animals, I will not be able to stop for all of them, and they will not stop for us. But we got that all clear from the warden, so we're going to head straight on into the Little Aturi Forest. Now, animals in the Little Aturi have developed some amazing camouflage techniques to try and hide from predators. So as we go on through, keep a lookout for any kind of shapes, any kind of movement. And if you look there to the right, there are two okapi over there. Now, the okapi are very shy, very reclusive, very good at hiding. So much so that they were thought to be a myth or cryptid by the Western world until 1901. In fact, they were once known as Africa's unicorn due to the fact that the Western world simply could not believe they existed because they look so very unique. Now, looking at the okapi, can anyone guess what it is most closely related to?
Zebra.
Very good guess, but in fact it is the only known living relative of the giraffe. So they share a similar skull structure and also have a prehensile tongue just like that giraffe does. Now, if you look up here on the hill in front of us, going to be to the right, there is a light brown animal over there. That is a greater kudu. Looks like there's a couple of greater kudu up there. Now, with those greater kudu, only the male kudu have horns, so it looks like those are lovely ladies up here. Now, if you look there to the left, there is a black rhino sleeping against that rock. Now, black rhinos are absolutely massive, easily able to reach weights of up to 3,000 pounds. And as you can imagine, something that big has very little to worry about out in the wild when it comes to predators. In fact, the biggest threat to those rhinos are humans. Humans will oftentimes poach them for the horns that they have, which are said to have medicinal qualities, but that's simply not true. Those horns are made of keratin, which are the same things that our fingernails and hair are made of, so really there's no reason to poach those guys. Now, coming up to the left, there are a couple of bongo over there on that hill. They are reddish-brown animals. They're kind of hiding back against that tree line. Now, with the bongos, both male and female bongo do have horns, but the male bongo will get bigger than the females, as well as get a little bit of a darker coloration. But we're going to head on deeper into the reserve now, down to the Safi River. Two animals we can find down there by the water. The most famous animal we might see by the water is the Nile hippopotamus. But it is the daytime and hippos are nocturnal, so any hippos that we do see are probably going to be in the water. But if we do see hippos, it's important that we all remain seated because they are considered to be some of the most dangerous animals in Africa just because they are so very territorial. And I don't want to put any of us anywhere near a hippo that they might consider it to be too close. Now, I do see bubbling over there to the right, which makes me think there may be hippos in the area. So keep a lookout on the surface of the water for any sign that hippos are going to breach the water there. Now, if you look over there to the left, there are some hippos. They're back behind that island over there. Now, hippos are really good at staying in the water. They can actually hold their breath for up to 8 minutes at a time. And they'll do just about everything in the water. They will sleep in the water. They'll nurse their young in the water. They will even eat while they're in the water. Now, these gray birds down there with the hippos are called pink-backed pelicans. Pink-backed pelicans get their name from the pinkish hue that their backs take on during mating season. They may not look like it from this distance, but they're actually quite big. They have a wingspan that can reach up to 9 feet across, which is about as wide as the canopy is above our heads. Now, if you have a phone or camera, you might want to get it ready, because there are going to be some beautiful Nile crocodile over here to the left of us, sunning themselves on the bank there. Now, Nile crocodile are the largest species of crocodilian in Africa, easily able to tall, so think about that. And I heard some of you notice that their mouths were gaping open. Do you have any idea why they might do that? So they do that to cool themselves down. They are ectotherms, which means they can't regulate their body temperature internally like you or I can. Instead, they have to do things that affect their temperature, like get out in the sun, get in the water, or open their mouths real wide to let hot air out and cool air in. Now we are about to head into the savanna, and you might begin to notice that it looks just a little bit different than the forest. While this forest area is really thick and lush, the savanna is going to be more open in comparison. It's really going to be shaped by the millions of migratory animals that cross over it every single day. But speaking of migratory animals, it does sound like we've got a bit of an animal stop in the road up ahead. Those animals are migrating right in front of our trucks, which is exciting news for us because that means that they are out and they are active. But we are going to sit here until that truck in front of us gets moving. Now coming up to the right is one of my favorite looking trees in the whole savanna. Does anyone know what this tree is called? So this tree is a baobab tree, also known as the upside down tree. Let's make sure we all remain seated at all times. As I said, this is the real truck I am really driving, and I got told if I lose another guest this week, I will get in trouble. Yeah, that baobab tree is called, so known as an upside down tree of life. It can be leafless for 9 months out of the year, but it's also called a tree of life because it stores water in that trunk, just like its cousins, the cacti and succulents do. Now I do see some animals off in the distance, and don't worry, we will get to talk about all of them, but I want to make sure we get even closer before we do. Keep your eyes open. Sometimes we will see animals on either side of this truck. They do sometimes like to hide in the bushes here, as well as in the tall grass. So if you see something that I don't, please feel free to let me know. Now there are predators that like to hang around the savanna as well. We are about to pass one of their dens over here to the left. So as we pass by this open area, this clearing over here, keep a lookout for any signs that there are predators moving through the area. I do see some African wild dogs sleeping over there kind of by that tree, kind of scattered throughout that area. Now those African wild dogs are also called African painted dogs due to those beautiful white spots they have on their fur. Those white spots are unique and vary from individual to individual. And while they may look very cute and cuddly laying over there, they are in fact one of the most successful predators in all of Africa. They are even far more successful than the big cats. The way that they'll hunt is that they'll gather up in a pack. Gather up in a pack and then they'll chase down a prey item, taking turns chasing a prey item until that prey item literally drops from exhaustion. It's a really effective way of hunting, and they are one of the only predators in Africa that do hunt like that. Now if you'll keep your eyes to the left, there are some sable antelope over there as well. Now those sables are some of the bravest antelope in the whole savanna. For when they're faced with a situation where they can choose to fight or flight, most of the time those sables will choose to fight using those impressively curved horns on their head. Now we really admire the way that they face their problems head on, which is why we've made them the mascot of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. So if you notice that sign before we enter the reserve, it does have a sable on it, as well as some of our other kind of Harambe Wildlife Reserve signs that you might see around. Now you might also notice some of these weird mounds that we're passing. Does anyone know what these mounds are? So these are termite mounds. Underneath the hot African sun, those termite mounds can grow as hard as concrete. And when that happens, animals such as elephants and giraffes will actually come along and use them as itching posts. They'll scratch themselves on that termite mound. Sometimes it knocks them over, sometimes it wears them down. But when that happens, smaller animals like the antelope will come along and use them as lookout points for predators or any kind of danger there might be on the savanna. It's really cool to think that something so small like a termite can create something so big that is used by so many animals here on the savanna. Now over there on the hill, you might notice some gray animals up there. Those are some white-bearded wildebeest. White-bearded wildebeest have some of the largest migratory herds in the world, with those migratory herds able to number up to 1.5 million individuals. A really cool fact about those white-bearded wildebeest is that baby white-bearded wildebeest can be up and running within the first 30 minutes of being born. So imagine if human children could do that. I do see some shapes over there with the wildebeest. If you see something with really long horns, that's an Ankole cow. Now, Ankole are the only domesticated animal here on the reserve. We'll get to see one as we go around this curve. They're first domesticated by the Watusi people, and those impressive horns on their head can reach up to 8 feet in length. Now, they may look quite heavy if you can see them, but they're only about 20 pounds, which would be a lot for us to have on our heads, but for these Ankole, it's almost nothing. There's actually a honeycomb structure inside those horns, which the Ankole use to cool themselves off. So what they'll do is they'll send blood up through the horns, which exposes it to air, getting it away from the body, and that helps let off excess heat. It's a really cool adaptation to kind of stay cool in a place that can get so hot. Should be able to get a really good look at this Ankole, as well as this tower of giraffe that are also here on the savanna. I see some adult giraffe. I also see some baby giraffe, and yes, these are babies. Baby giraffe are around 6 feet tall when they are born, and giraffe mothers give birth standing up. So that 6 foot tall baby over there has a 6 foot tall drop as its first introduction into the world. But don't worry, that drop is beneficial to the babies, as it's the shock of that impact that lets them know that they need to start breathing on their own. Now, if you see this brown, white, and black animal that are kind of scattered throughout the savanna, those are springbok. Springbok are the national animal of South Africa. A lot of sports teams do have them as their mascots due to their high athletic ability. Those little springbok can reach up to 60 miles per hour when they run, as well as leap up in the air 6 feet high and 13 feet forward. Should get another good look at those springbok. There's a couple of springbok over here by the road, in fact. And those are all adult springbok. Springbok are only around 3 feet tall when fully grown. They look pretty cute, don't they? There's another Ankole cow over here to the left. But I'm starting to see signs that an even larger animal has been moving through the area. If you look on either side of the road, there are trees that have been knocked down, which is usually a pretty good sign that there have been elephants moving through the area. Which makes sense considering we are about to enter elephant country, and look there to the right. There is a big old elephant right there by the road. There are 2 elephants even. Oh, it's really cool to see them, especially that close. Now, who knows what kind of elephants those are? African or Asian elephants? So those are African elephants. If you take a look at their ears actually look like the continent of Africa, which is the easiest way for me to tell the difference between an Asian elephant and an African elephant. But I want to see if we can find even more elephants. But it looks like the road we normally take is closed. Seems like it got washed out in all of the rain. And that's okay, this alternate route will take us to where we want to go, which is deeper into elephant country. Unfortunately, it will also take us over the oldest bridge in the whole reserve. But as long as we all think light thoughts, we should be just fine. Looks like they've reinforced it with rusty wire. That's comforting. Phew, I made it. And it looks like the rest of y'all made it as well, so no problem here. Not that I was even the slightest bit worried. But going back to elephants, I am starting to see signs that maybe some more elephants have been through the area. If you look on either side of us in these red clay pits, there are tusk marks. Now elephants love these red clay pits. They'll actually use their tusks to scrape off the clay and eat it. If you look there to the left, there is an elephant right there. Now unfortunately I can't stop here for pictures, but I will go poly-poly, which is Swahili for very slowly. We can all try and get a good look at these elephants over here. I even see some more elephants off in the distance as well. There is a clearing up ahead that we should be able to get a really good look at these elephants.
Safari 11, I'm here. Safari 11.
Look at that, there are a couple elephants over there, and that's even a baby elephant over there to the left. That smaller one right there, that is a baby. Now the fact that there is a baby here makes me confident in saying that this is a matriarchal herd. You see, females and their offspring will hang out in these matriarchal herds, which are led by the oldest female elephant, also known as the matriarch. The males tend to be more solitary than the females. They'll hang out by themselves or in loose groups called bachelor herds. But it looks like a whole flamboyance of greater flamingo have also decided to make their home here in elephant country as well. Now greater flamingo are the largest species of flamingo. They're also the lightest pink in coloration, so they don't start out that pink color. Does anyone know where they get it from? Yeah, they get it from all of the brine shrimp that they eat. Those brine shrimp are full of beta carotene, and it's that beta carotene that turns their feathers a beautiful pink. Now look at that island the flamingo's on. What does that island look like?
Mickey Mouse.
You didn't hear it from me.
But we'll just enjoy of it.
Now if you look up ahead, there is a whole crash of white rhino. There's even a white rhino rolling around in the mud. Now does anyone know why it might do that? Yeah, it does that to cool themselves off. The mud also helps protect their skin, kind of like a sunscreen. It also acts as a bug repellent too. It'll help keep biting and stinging insects away from it. But look at that elephant or that rhino roll over there. Now those are white rhinos. As big as that black rhino was that we saw before, these white rhinos are even bigger. They can reach weights that are up to 5,000 pounds. And as you may notice, they're not exactly white in coloration, and that's because they get their name from the old Afrikaans word "wide," meaning wide, referring to the width of their lips. But when visitors heard them referred to as white rhinos, they thought they were calling them white rhinos, and so the name just sort of stuck. Now if you look to the left real quick, there are some cheetah up there on that hill. They're laying down. There's two cheetah up there. They're kind of hard to see. They kind of look like logs over there, but those are a cheetah. Now they may not look like it right now, but those guys are the fastest land mammals in the world, able to reach speeds of over 60 miles per hour in 3 seconds flat. While they reach those speeds, they can't really maintain them. They are more sprinters than long distance runners. And speaking of fast animals, if you look over here to the left, there's also another cheetah up there on the hill, but there's also an ostrich right here by the truck. Now the ostrich are the fastest birds in the world. They can reach speeds of up to 40 miles per hour. They're also the largest birds in the world with some of the largest eggs. It's really cool to see those animals, especially so close to the truck. But you know, cheetah are diurnal hunters, which means they will hunt primarily during the day. This helps cut down on the chances of competition with bigger, more nocturnal hunters. And here at the Copies, we might be able to find some of those nocturnal hunters today. You see, this is where lions like to spend their time. Those lions are like our domestic house cats. They'll like to sit up on the Copies, look over their territory, look for prey. But it is a little bit late in the day when lions are nocturnal hunters, which means they will hunt primarily at night. And sometimes these Copies can hold a lot of heat during the day. So if we don't see them, they're probably down looking for somewhere cooler. But keep your eyes open because you never know. It's a bit of an overcast day, so you might get lucky. And yes, look there to the left. There is a male lion sleeping on those rocks over there. Now what you see this lion doing right now is what you'll see most lions doing during the day. They are conserving energy, and they're pretty good at it too. They can actually conserve energy for up to 20 hours each day. There are some burrows over here to the left that sometimes we see activity in and around. But I'm not seeing too much movement down there. But I do see some movement up ahead because there are two more ostrich. Now, like the ostrich we saw before, these are female ostrich. Males will be a black in coloration as opposed to this gray that the females are. And it looks like there's even a clutch of ostrich eggs over there beneath that tree.
They've been there for a long time.
Now with those ostrich eggs, the most dominant hen will start off the nest by laying her egg in the center of that nest. And then the other hens will lay their eggs kind of around that area as well. When that happens, the most dominant male and female pair will kind of incubate those eggs, but when the ostriches hatch, then they'll all just raise those chicks communally. It's a really cool way of trying to ensure that as many as ostrich chicks make it to adulthood as possible. Entering the Gaudy Glen, and it looks like we're going to have a very special animal sighting as our final one today. He just disappears behind that hill, but we'll see him as we curve around. Now what you're looking for is a scimitar horned oryx. Now these scimitar horned oryx are pretty cool creatures. They can actually go for up to 9 months without needing a drink of water. And that is because they do not sweat until their internal body temperature reaches 115 degrees. They also do get most of what they need from all of the vegetation that they eat. But it's really cool to see this guy because they were considered to be extinct in the wild. But thanks to breeding programs done by zoos all over the world, a small group of them was released back into some of their native habitat, and with any luck, we'll be able to hear news that they are beginning to spread through the lands where they once lived. So those gates do mark the conclusion of our safari. We got to see some amazing animals today, some amazing sights. But as time goes on, animals and sites like that are in danger of being lost forever, as more and more species face threats such as habitat loss, poaching, and even extinction. It's not all bad news though. There are people and organizations like Disney all around the world that are banding together to try and conserve these species for future generations. And there's a lot of stuff that we can do as well to help. If you donate to the Disney Wildlife Conservation Fund, Disney will match your donation, dollar for dollar, cent for cent. And all of that money does go towards helping animals like the ones we've seen today, as well as other animals all around the world. Even doing something small like sharing photos, videos, talking about what you've seen with people who may not know about these animals is enough. Because how can you care about something enough to want to save it if you don't know about it? Now this is the warden's post, but I'm actually not going to let you out here. I'm going to take you back and put you back where I found you. Which in general is just a really good mindset to have with anything you find out in the wild. You don't know where they've been. Step 3, Safari 5 and the dog. Step 3, Safari 5 and the dog. Oh, we are gonna hang out here for just a moment. Let some of these trucks clear on through. The warden is waving us through, but like I said, we're not going to stop here. We're just going to go on by. Jumbo Warden. Now there's actually a really fun game that I like to play with the people up ahead. We're going to pass 2 docks of people. And you see those people have been waiting to get on a truck. They want to get on a safari. But they're not going to get on this truck. No, we are a special truck. We are a VIP truck. For all they know, we could be celebrities. So what I like to do is I like to pretend to be a celebrity. I'll lift my hand, give my best princess smile and wave, and give them a friendly jumbo as we go on by. In fact, I highly recommend that you guys kind of join me in that. I'll even count to 3 so we can all do it together when we pass them. We can lift our hands, give a smile, give a wave, give a nice jumbo. But if that's a little bit too intimidating for you, you'd rather keep your celebrity status a secret, you don't feel like dealing with the paparazzi today, then please feel free to look over to the left, study these beautiful plants. They are giving us oxygen. They're keeping us cool. They're providing us with a little bit of extra green. They are doing their best. But we are going to hang out here until the trucks in front of us clear out of the way. But if you want to see more animals today and you haven't already, then I highly recommend you visit the Gorilla Falls Walking Trail. The exit of the safari will actually put you right at the entrance of the Gorilla Falls Walking Trail, and you'll be able to see animals that you might not have been able to see today, such as zebra, things like snakes, really big frogs, naked mole rats, or as the name implies, some gorillas. There was even a baby gorilla that was born this year, and if you're lucky, you may be able to see her if you go out and visit the Gorilla Falls Walking Trail. There's also a walking trail out in Asia, where you can see things such as water buffalo, really exotic birds, as well as some tigers on occasion. So if you're heading to Asia, be sure to check that trail out. But it is our turn to go on by, so if you want to, you can get your hands up, get a smile, get ready to wave, and 1, 2, 3, jumbo! Jumbo, everyone! And we can do it to this deck too. 1, 2, 3, jumbo! Jumbo, everyone! Jumbo, Warden! But now that we've said hello, it is time to say farewell, because this is your stop. Now here in Harambe, we do not like to say goodbye. It's much too sad, much too final. So instead, what we say is Kwaherini, which means to go well. So Kwaherini, everyone, go well, go wild, go make a difference. And if there are any wilderness explorers on board, you guys have been riding the Simba 1. That's Simba like the lion and the number 1 like the number 1.